Greetings, peace, and blessings. I'm very excited to share with you this deck that I received, the Biblical Tarot. It's the Shadows of the Soul edition. And it came with this amazing book, Illuminating the Path. I have talked about the Biblical Tarot deck on my channel before, and it's a concept that I really, really love. It's created by Christamir Kalin, and they reached out to me offering to send me their book and the deck. And of course, I'm not going to say no. And it was so timely because I've been dealing with a lot of things and focusing more so on shadow work. So I feel like everything was just in divine timing. I thought I had a copy of the biblical tarot right here. This is, no, the second edition's over there. So they came out with the first edition and then they reprinted it with more diversity in the deck. And then they crafted this amazing Shadows of the Soul edition. I've not yet looked through the cards. I have been reading through this book, Illuminating the Path Within, and it is phenomenal. It has a lot of helpful information in it, and they signed it for me to Giovanna, Enjoy the Journey, which I think is really beautiful. So I started reading this book the other night. It talks about what shadow work is, the purpose of the book, Plato's allegory of the cave. It goes into so many different things, the subconscious, the journey of the soul. It talks about Jung's the iceberg theory, where like we only see like the tip of the iceberg and then everything else that's beneath is the subconscious. Like it goes so much in depth, and like receiving this was truly a blessing. I didn't know they were coming out with a new deck. And like I said, I've been going through a lot of internal work, like different things that have been coming up for me. So I had already started doing shadow work around certain things for myself. And so to receive this was just like extra confirmation that this is what I need to do. And now I'm equipped with these amazing tools to dive even further into my own shadow work journey. This book is really beautiful because it talks about frequency, the vibration of emotions. It goes into like how to explore your shadows, how to use this deck within shadow work. And it has some really, really amazing spreads. It also talks about discernment, your triggers, overcoming your shadows. Like this is a phenomenal, phenomenal book. That not only helps you as far as like shadow work, but it really helps you dive deeper into the biblical tarot deck and working with that. I'm still reading through this. Before I even opened the deck, I was like, I really want to like read this book. And it is just well written, filled with amazing information. So after you go through, there are some beautiful spreads. There's this amazing chart that talks about the major arcana as a 5-stage spiritual journey. And then it assigns each major's arcana to an archetype. And then it gives it a theme, a shadow work tip, and a journal prompt. It uses, like there's so much in here that talks about how to incorporate prayer with shadow work, meditating on scripture for shadow work, biblical meditation, suggested verses for shadow work, and coming up with your own daily practice that combines prayer, meditation, and shadow work. I just have to say that what Christamir Kalin is doing with Biblical Tarot is very necessary. I know there are a lot of people who may identify with one religion or the other, or that, you know, are closely linked into the Bible, but they still have curiosity around divination and more metaphysical spiritual practices. And I really love how this just allows people to explore those things without necessarily violating their belief system. And just, I love this so much. Like I said, there's a ton of information in this book. I do believe the book is separate. Both the book and the deck are available on Amazon. There are some powerful spreads in this book. And I think one of the things that I'm going to do, because like I said, I'm working on my own shadow work journey. I don't know if it's going to be on this channel or like my other channel. I don't know. Maybe it'll be both, but just kind of share my journey, what I'm going through, how I'm going through it, and using these tools as a guide, because I think that would be very supportive to other people. And I don't know why I feel like I'm going to cry. But yeah, this book is amazing. Okay, so I keep saying that. So there's plenty of spreads within this book. There's a spread for inner healing, spread for shadow work, and then there's some extra spreads. From start to finish, this walks you through everything. It's very well written. It's easy to understand, super easy to apply. So if you're not familiar with shadow work, you can use this information. If you are familiar with shadow work, you can still learn something and apply this to your own practice. I want to do this Trinity of Shadow spread. That one looks really, really good. There's a Shadow's Voice spread, The Mirror Within, Jacob's Ladder, Alchemy of the Soul, like so much stuff. Then we get to this part of the book where it dives into the major arcana, and it has a picture of each card. It gives some information on the card, the scripture that is associated with it, keywords for upright and reversals, and then the meanings for upright and reversals. And these are geared towards shadow work. And then we go into the next chapter, which is the minor arcana. These are reflections of everyday life. And you've got the same thing. It gives the title, what the card is associated with, the scripture, a description, keywords, and then the meanings in upright and reverse. And oh, so there is something extra with this deck. It comes with an extra card, which is called the Shadow card. And so there is like a chapter in the guidebook here that talks about that particular card. But this book on its own is amazing. Like, oh my gosh. I can't wait to sit and read through it first. And in fact, the creator actually recommends like reading through the book before starting on doing any shadow work, just so you have a good foundation and understanding. And I think that's very responsible and respectable, and is a really great place to start, especially if you are new to shadow work. So I love how these things come together, because this has been like, as far as like shadow work has been something that I kind of was putting off, not necessarily being as intentional about it as I should have. And then a lot of stuff started happening in my own personal life, and I was like, oh, I need to do this. And the day that I got the message was like just triple confirmation. So this is the box for the Biblical Tarot deck. And this is the inside, Biblical Tarot, Shadows of the Soul. And it's got Psalms 23 and 4. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. It does come with a guidebook. It's a much smaller version, but it does include the card meanings in upright and reverse for all of the cards. And it does give some spreads in here as well, and gives like a really short how-to guide when it comes to shadow working. But if you are looking for a more substantive guide or information, this book is it. Seriously, it has everything. So, oh my gosh, I have not looked at these cards yet. So this is the back of the cards. Everything is in black and white. There's this thank you card here that has some additional information as far as visiting biblicaltarot.com and reaching out to them for support. And then there's social media icons down at the bottom. So we have the soul. And I believe these are probably the same artwork as in the original deck, just in the black and white, which I love the stark contrast of that. I think it's really beautiful and interesting for shadow work. And so the Magician, we have Moses, Mary Magdalene, High Priestess. And now that I'm looking at it, because this is one of my favorite cards, and it is very Lisa Frank-like in the original deck, like the energy of it does feel different as far as what feelings and emotions it brings up for me. I want to see if I can find Mary Magdalene in color. Where is, or at least one of the ones that I've looked at so far. Just so you can see, like, it has a different energy to it. It feels not heavy. Oh, there she is. Not heavy, but it feels weighted. Like, okay, so there's the High Priestess, and there is the High Priestess. So there are some differences now that I'm looking at it. This card, I feel, is more like in frame there. And then the background and things are different. She's not covering her head. So yeah, there are definitely some differences. So that'll be one of the things I do, is to sit and compare and contrast the two. But there we have the Empress. There's the Emperor. And I love how detailed the artwork is, even just for it to be like black and white. It still feels very, like concrete. I don't know the right word to say, but it feels very strong. I don't know, there's something about it. I can't wait to start reading with it. We've got the Lovers, Adam and Eve. There's the Chariot. Got Strength, Daniel. We've got the Hermit. Oh, this is different. The Wheel of Life. I love how it shows the different phases of life, and then you have the moon phases around it, and then you've got the seasons around it, and then you have what looks to be like death down at the bottom, and then there's the angels at the top. And we've got Justice. The Hanged Man. There's Death. For whatever reason, this card has a very light energy to it for me, and I don't know why. It feels almost like refreshing. And maybe just because it's in the energy of the shadow, it feels more balanced. I don't know, but that's different. And there's Temperance. We've got the Devil. There's the Tower. And then we've got the Star. That's a beautiful card. The Moon. We've got the Sun. Judgment. The World. And we've got the Shadow. So this is the extra card that I was talking about. Is Jacob wrestling with God, and references Genesis 32 and 22. And like, it's so appropriate because like our shadow self is like us wrestling with, you know, our higher self wrestling with our ego or our lower self. And so that definitely resonates. I think that was a beautiful pairing for that particular card. I wanted to see 246. See, this book has almost 400 pages. It has 365 pages of amazing information. So this card references transformation, revelation, integration, spiritual encounter, growth. In reverse, it's avoidance, resistance to transformation, unresolved conflict, spiritual stagnation, difficulty accepting truths. And the scripture in this book says, then the Med said, your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, because you have struggled with God and with humans and have overcome. That is so beautiful. Like, so beautiful. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and like get through the minors. Oh, and I forgot to show you, like, I love that part. They gilded the edges. I feel like the card stock is also a bit thicker. I think it's a pretty good quality card stock. It's thick without it being like so thick that it would be hard to shuffle the deck. But we've got the Ace of Candles. There's the Two of Candles. The Three of Candles. The Four of Candles. The Five of Candles. I do feel like looking at the cards, especially with the people on it, it seems like they're more framed in the card versus what I've seen in the previous deck. There's the Six. The Wall of Jericho coming down. Got the Seven of Candles. I probably will do like a side-by-side, the Eight of Candles, just to show like the differences in between this version and the original. And we've got the Nine of Candles. 10 of Candles. Then we've got the Page, the Knight, the Queen, the King, and then we've got the Ace of Chalices. There's the Two of Chalices. The Three of Chalices, the Four of Chalices, the Five, there's the Six of Chalices, the Seven, we've got the Eight of Chalices, the Nine of Chalices, the 10, got the Page, the Knight, the Queen, there's the King, and we've got the Ace of Feathers, the Two of Feathers, the Three of Feathers, 4 of feathers, the 5 of feathers, the 6 of feathers, 7 of feathers, 8 of feathers, the 9 of feathers, the 10 of feathers, got the page of feathers, the knight of feathers, the queen of feathers, the king of feathers, ace of grains, 2 of grains, 3 of grains, 4 of grains, 5 of grains, 6 of grains, 7 of grains, 8 of grains, 9 of grains, 10 of grains. Then we got the page, the knight, the queen, and the king. So those are all the cards. Beautiful black and white artwork. I love the back of the cards. You can read them upright, reverse, doesn't matter. Love the gilded edges. I think that's a really beautiful, beautiful touch. I am really excited to sit and work with this deck, go through some shadow work. Definitely want to use the spreads in the deck and look forward to sharing more of that with you. I'm going to include the link to the other review videos that I've done on this particular deck, the Biblical Tarot, and just invite you along on this beautiful, beautiful journey. Thank you so much to Kresimir, Kaylin, and Team Biblical Tarot for sending me this beautiful deck and this amazing book. I'm definitely going to put it to good use and just really appreciate it. And I'm happy to share this because I really believe in what they are bringing forward and the way in which these are really supportive tools for our spiritual, emotional, mental, and just holistic healing and wellness. So I can't wait to share my journey with you. I will see you next time. Peace.